What's going to happen though, you think?
Well, Diddy's going to be in jail for the rest of his life. I think he's probably going to get
Think he's
hit up.
saying though?
I don't know. I don't even think it matters. I mean, it's a lot of it is.
But then it's just another Epstein.
There's
it's Ghislaine Maxwell, where
there's
someone's
murder
indicted
cases.
and nobody else indicted for to
right.
No.
Aaron Dupree says that Keefe D told him that Diddy was the one who offered money for the execution of Tupac Shakur.
So we heard this back in 2008. This is not new, but the fact that it was introduced into the trial is really stunning. So right off the Sunset Strip, there was a famous deli where Keefe D and Diddy were apparently sitting, and that's when Diddy said, $1 million you got?
Joe Rogan has spent years talking about the part of celebrity culture that makes ordinary people uncomfortable. Private rooms, powerful friends, expensive parties, cameras nobody notices, and reputations protected by money. Most of the time, those conversations live somewhere between comedy, suspicion, and open-ended speculation. But now, one of the oldest mysteries in hip-hop has dragged a familiar name back into court. And suddenly, some of Rogan's old comments about Sean Diddy Combs sound very different. The name at the center of the storm is Dwayne Keefe D. Davis. Nearly 30 years after Tupac Shakur was shot in Las Vegas, Davis is finally standing trial, accused of orchestrating the killing. He has pleaded not guilty. His lawyers say the stories he told over the years were exaggerated, inconsistent, and designed to make him famous. Prosecutors say those same stories contain admissions that place him directly inside the white Cadillac involved in the shooting. And then the courtroom heard something even bigger. Jurors listened to recordings from a 2008 interview in which Davis spoke to investigators about Tupac's murder. In those recordings, Davis claimed his nephew Orlando, Baby Lane Anderson, fired the fatal shots. He also made a separate allegation that has followed this case for years, that Sean Combs had allegedly offered $1 million for Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight to be killed. That claim is not new. What is new is where millions of people are hearing it now. Not in a documentary, not on a street interview, not buried in a memoir, not inside a YouTube conspiracy video with dramatic music playing underneath it. Inside a murder trial. And that difference changes the temperature completely. To be clear, Diddy has repeatedly denied any involvement in Tupac's killing. His representatives again rejected Davis's allegations after the recordings were discussed in court, saying Davis has denied his own past claims and insisting Combs had absolutely nothing to do with the murder.
Combs was supposed to have given money to Zip Martin to give to Mr. Davis for payment of the Tupac. Fast forward, we go to Mr. Davis. He says he can rekindle that relationship with Mr. Zip Martin and get him to talk about the money that was given from Sean Puffy Combs to Mr. Martin that never got to Mr. Davis.
Diddy has not been charged in Tupac's death, and prosecutors in the current Las Vegas case are trying Davis, not Combs. But the fact that Diddy's name is being spoken in a courtroom connected to Tupac's murder has reopened a door hip-hop has never fully managed to close. That is where Joe Rogan enters the picture. Rogan has never claimed he solved Tupac's murder. He has never produced secret evidence connecting Diddy to the shooting, and there is no verified new clip of Rogan personally confronting Diddy over Keefe D's testimony. What does exist is years of Rogan openly questioning the darker side of celebrity power, including Diddy's world. Back in 2024, when allegations surrounding Combs were exploding, Rogan sat with Joey Diaz and talked about the rumors around Diddy's parties. Rogan was careful enough to admit that the internet gets things wrong, but he also wondered aloud what it would look like if someone used celebrity parties to gather compromising material on powerful people. The conversation wandered into comparisons with Jeffrey Epstein and the possibility of cameras, leverage, and people being compromised. It was speculation, not proof. But listen to those conversations now, after everything that has entered public courtrooms, and you understand why old Rogan clips keep resurfacing. Rogan's recurring point was not that he personally knew what happened behind closed doors. It was that extreme wealth and celebrity can create environments where normal rules seem to disappear. Famous people meet other famous people. Assistants control access. Security keeps outsiders away. Lawyers handle problems. Everybody has something to lose. And when a major story breaks, everyone suddenly asks the same question. Who knew what? That question has haunted the Tupac case since September 1996. Tupac was 25 years old when he was shot near the Las Vegas Strip after attending the Mike Tyson fight at the MGM Grand. Earlier that night, surveillance footage captured Tupac, Suge Knight, and others attacking Orlando Anderson, Davis's nephew, inside the casino. Prosecutors say that fight triggered retaliation. According to the state's theory, Davis helped organize the response. Prosecutors allege he was inside the Cadillac that later pulled alongside the BMW carrying Tupac and Suge. Davis is not accused of being the shooter. Instead, the prosecution says he helped facilitate the attack. Davis's defense is attacking the credibility of the very statements prosecutors are using. That matters because Keefe D has talked for years. He talked to investigators, he talked in documentaries, he talked in interviews, he wrote a memoir. He described pieces of the night repeatedly, sometimes in ways prosecutors say match, while his attorneys now argue he embellished stories for money and notoriety.
And did you guys, or Mr. Davis, come up with a plan to get leverage on Mr. Williams, Zip? And what was the idea?
Me, Detective Kading, ATF Jim Black, and Keefe D, Mr. Davis, flew to New York so Mr. Davis can work undercover to try to rekindle that friendship.
That creates a bizarre courtroom problem. The prosecution wants jurors to believe Keefe D when he implicated himself. The defense wants jurors to believe Keefe D was basically selling mythology. And somewhere inside that fight sits the Diddy allegation. A retired LAPD detective testified that Davis told investigators Combs was allegedly supposed to provide money through an associate known as Zip. The allegation was that money had been discussed in connection with killing Tupac and Suge Knight, although Davis claimed the payment never reached him. Again, this remains an allegation. No independent evidence publicly presented has established that Combs ordered Tupac's murder. Combs has denied it for years. He is not a defendant in this case. That needs to remain crystal clear. But from a cultural standpoint, hearing the allegation played and discussed in court is massive.
And business relationship with Zip.
And when Mr. Davis goes in to, do you remember the name of the club?
It's called the Zip Code in Harlem.
Does he in fact meet with Zip?
Zip, he did, but from what we gathered from Mr. Davis told us, he passed him off to his nephew, meaning Zip passed him off to his nephew to do business with him.
Because for decades, this story existed in the shadows between rumor and hip-hop folklore. Everybody had a theory. Death Row blamed Bad Boy. Bad Boy denied involvement. Street politics overlapped with record label warfare. Tupac and Biggie became symbols of an East Coast versus West Coast conflict that eventually swallowed the actual human beings involved. Then Tupac was killed. 6 months later, Christopher Wallace, the notorious B.I.G., was murdered in Los Angeles. Two giants were gone. Neither murder produced a conviction for decades, so rumors multiplied in the vacuum. And Diddy's name never completely disappeared from those rumors. That is why the new courtroom footage has landed so hard. It does not prove the old theory. It proves that the old allegation was real enough to exist inside a recorded law enforcement interview, and important enough for jurors to hear as prosecutors build their case against Davis. Those are two very different things. Joe Rogan's audience understands that distinction better than people sometimes assume. Rogan's show thrives on uncertainty. Guests throw out theories. Jamie pulls up articles. Rogan changes his mind in real time. 1 minute, something sounds plausible. 5 minutes later, somebody finds a detail that complicates it. That format is almost perfectly built for a case like Tupac's, because this case is nothing but complications. There are old interviews, confidential agreements, dead witnesses, changing stories, gang rivalries, music industry politics, people who refuse to testify, people who talk too much, people who waited decades to talk at all. And now, a jury is being asked to decide whether Davis's own words finally solve the central question of who was legally responsible for setting the murder in motion.
Zip had cancer or something like that. He was sickly. He said he wasn't in the business no more, something like that. So it didn't work.
So he was unable to reestablish a business relationship and do a Zip so that you would have leverage to then talk to Zip about what Mr. Davis, confirming the information
Your
you just
response.
provided. What?
You're just confirming that the information that you just were provided is what?
The Diddy question sits beside that trial, but it is not the same question. That is important. Some creators are already presenting the courtroom testimony as if prosecutors have officially accused Combs of ordering Tupac's murder. They have not. Others are saying Keefe D just revealed Diddy's name for the first time. He did not. The allegation has circulated publicly for years. The bombshell is that jurors are now hearing the old recorded statements in the first murder trial ever held over Tupac's death. That is a much more accurate story. And honestly, it is still explosive. Imagine being Tupac's family and waiting nearly 3 decades for this moment. Imagine watching prosecutors play recordings of a man describing the car, the gun, the passengers, and the seconds before one of the most famous murders in music history. Some members of Tupac's family have sat through brutal evidence in this trial, including medical testimony about his injuries. Others left the courtroom rather than view graphic autopsy photographs. For them, this is not internet content. It is the final week of Tupac's life being reconstructed piece by piece. That human reality gets lost when every headline turns into Diddy versus Tupac. Rogan has talked about Tupac's death before too. During his conversation with Ice Cube, Rogan remembered being on the set of News Radio when he learned Tupac had been shot. He described the moment as shocking, almost like celebrity suddenly offered no protection at all. Ice Cube's response was even more grounded. Being famous did not remove the danger. That may be the most important theme underneath this entire story. Money makes people powerful, but it also puts them close to other powerful people. Fame gives access, but access can create conflict. Success creates security, but it can also create the illusion that consequences belong to somebody else.
I'm just confirming the information that he just testified to.
So it's been overruled. You may answer.
Yes, he couldn't rekindle the relationship.
And so you come back from New York.
Yes.
At some point, does
The 1990s rap industry mixed millions of dollars with real street rivalries, label competition, bruised egos, entourages, and men who were often carrying conflicts from long before record deals entered the picture. That combination was combustible. Tupac's murder happened after a casino fight that lasted seconds. The consequences have lasted 30 years. And now one of the people prosecutors say was inside the shooter's car is sitting feet away from a jury listening to his younger self describe what happened. No wonder people are asking what comes next. Could Diddy be dragged deeper into the Tupac investigation? Legally, that would require evidence, not internet certainty. Experts have noted that if credible corroborated evidence ever established someone solicited a murder, prosecutors could examine it. But right now, Diddy is not charged, not identified as a defendant, and not publicly established as a suspect in Davis's Las Vegas prosecution. That is why the wording matters. Keefe D alleged it. A detective testified about it. The jury heard recordings related to it. Diddy denies it. Those are the facts currently on the table. Everything beyond that is a question. And those questions are exactly why Rogan's old commentary feels relevant again. Rogan has repeatedly returned to the idea that huge scandals rarely look simple from the outside. Public stories get polished. Powerful people hire teams. Rumors mix with real reporting. Fake details contaminate true ones. Then years later, documents or testimony appear and everybody tries to remember which parts were proven and which parts came from somebody talking online. The Tupac case is the ultimate version of that problem. Keefe D became famous partly because he kept talking. Now those words may be helping prosecutors convict him.
I want to ask you about Puffy case. It looked like they're trying to connect you on the Pac.
Well, the way the lawsuit and the way the law enforcement's been talking about it is that they believe that there was a check for $1 million that were paid out. What I've always said before is that follow the paperwork. Follow the paperwork. Kirk Burroughs came out of his lawsuit.
That is almost unbelievable. For years, people asked why anyone would repeatedly speak publicly about being present during an unsolved murder. The answer from Davis's lawyers is essentially that he was performing. He exaggerated. He wanted attention. He wanted money. He sold a story. The prosecution's answer is much simpler. He kept telling the truth about his own involvement. The jury has to decide which version makes sense. And if they believe his statements about the shooting, another uncomfortable question naturally follows. What do they make of the other claims he made in the same universe of interviews? That does not automatically make every claim true. People can tell the truth about one thing and lie about another. They can remember one detail accurately and distort another. They can confess to something while blaming somebody else to reduce their own responsibility. This is why courts test evidence instead of simply counting how many times a story went viral. Still, Diddy's name being attached to this moment is impossible to ignore. His reputation has already been transformed by separate criminal proceedings and allegations unrelated to Tupac. Now an old accusation from one of hip-hop's longest-running murder mysteries has returned at exactly the moment public scrutiny around him is at its highest.
And said that Diddy has something to do with it. You understand? At that time, Kirk knew how to get the money, knew how to put the money into place. So follow the check. Everybody was saying, yo, nobody writes a check for $1 million for this, that, and the third. Well, like I told people a long time ago, the individuals that they try to say that had something to do with it or got paid for it showed us a check for $1 million. I don't know that to be.
For viewers, the timing feels almost cinematic, but courtroom reality is slower than cinema. There are objections, foundation questions, arguments about what jurors can hear, old tapes with imperfect audio, witnesses who resist, lawyers attacking credibility, hours of testimony that social media compresses into 15 seconds. That is why a phrase like, Keefe D reveals Diddy Bombshell can be technically misleading even when the underlying development is enormous. He did not suddenly reveal the allegation this week. The court exposed it to a new audience. That is the shift. And I think that is why Rogan's style of questioning resonates here. He is willing to say, that sounds crazy, but what actually happened? Sometimes he leans too far into speculation. Sometimes his guests do. But the instinct to separate the unbelievable from the impossible is useful.
True. I know that that individual told us that he got a check for Black Ground Records for selling a record company that I didn't know he had. I never said he did. So follow the paperwork, if that's true or not. So now if it goes back to that, maybe he did, maybe he didn't, I don't know. And I'm still gonna go with what I said.
Because some things, once dismissed as rumors, do eventually turn out to have evidence. Other rumors remain rumors forever. The challenge is knowing which one you are looking at before hindsight makes everybody pretend they knew all along. There is another reason this moment feels different. Keefe D is not talking into a podcast microphone anymore. His old words are being tested against police records, witness testimony, video, timelines, and lawyers whose entire job is to challenge every inconsistency. That does not magically make each sentence true, but it removes the safety of casual storytelling. A claim that once lived in hip-hop folklore now has to survive contact with a courtroom. And for Diddy, even without charges in this case, that means an allegation he has denied for years is being introduced to millions of people who may be hearing it for the very first time. My opinion is simple. The Keefe D recordings are a huge development because jurors are finally hearing statements that have floated around Tupac's case for years. But nobody should jump from Diddy was mentioned to Diddy has been proven responsible. That leap is not supported by the current case. At the same time, I understand why people are watching every word. This murder shaped hip-hop history. Tupac never got to grow old. Biggie never got to grow old. Their families spent decades without a courtroom answer. Now the first Tupac murder trial is happening, and old names, old rivalries, and old allegations are coming back with it. So here is the real question.
It's gonna come back, bro. It's gonna come back, bro. If they do, everything is already laid out there. All they have to do is 9 times out of 10 follow the paperwork. Keefe D gonna be free pretty soon.
You really believe that Keefe D, he gonna get free?
Yeah, he gonna be free.
Do you think Keefe D's old recordings are finally revealing the truth about what happened in 1996? Or do you believe his defense when they say he exaggerated these stories for fame? And when it comes to the Diddy allegation, should investigators take another look if new corroborating evidence appears? Or has the internet already gone too far treating an unproven claim like a conviction? Drop your opinion in the comments. And if you want more celebrity stories where we dig past the viral headline and separate what was actually said from what the internet added later, subscribe to Gossip Tier and turn on notifications. Because this trial is still unfolding, and after 30 years of rumors, the next piece of testimony could change the entire conversation again.